go. We're doing this. Welcome to the Sort of Sure podcast. The podcast for people kind of figuring out while figuring it out. I'm Samar Carbo. And if you've ever felt like an imposter in your own life, your job, your relationships, your biggest dreams, then, well, congratulations. You found me. You're in the right place. Also, you're not alone. So if it helps, I'm right here with you. I don't have all the answers, but what I do have is a microphone, some stories, and a deeply ingrained habit of overthinking pretty much everything, which conveniently makes for decent podcast material. So let's get into it. All right, so why sort of sure? Because that's where I live. That's where a lot of people live. I looked up a statistic. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it, but I heard it said that 70% of people will experience imposter syndrome sometime in their life. And that's essentially what we're talking about here. We're living right in that space between I have no idea what I'm doing and I think I can figure it out. And if you're listening to this, chances are you know exactly what I mean. Maybe you've been given opportunities you're not sure you deserve. Maybe you've stepped into leadership and you just keep waiting for someone to tap you on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, so actually I meant to pick someone else." Or you're just trying to take yourself seriously, but not too seriously because of course that's embarrassing. And listen, I get it. Well, I kind of get it. I'm not you. But I live in that tension. I've also learned that the people who feel like imposters, a lot of them are the real deal. They care, they're reflective, and they're usually way more capable than they think. So if that's you, let's go ahead and unpack that together. So we'll talk about me for a little bit. I know, right? But in this first podcast, this is all I've got. So pardon, by the way I say podcast. I am originally from Western New York, and over there, the A's are so long they hibernate for the winter. So just please give me a break on that. I'll work on it. I've been working on my non-regional dialect for about 20 years. I've still got some quirks to work out. But anyway, I started out in the church. Big audiences, big expectations. I was doing, stadiums of 5,000 people with my skit team and my first real, big acting thing. Um, and I was 16. My training started back in 2002. But by 2006, I was a pastor of adults. I was young. I had a microphone. People kept giving to me, and people listened to me, which was exciting and, of course, terrifying. I kept thinking, wait, who let me in here? Who let me do this? But that's the thing about leadership and leadership positions. People just assume you know what you're doing. And for a long time, I just played along. I did the work. I built a whole separate ministry within the church. I started businesses, coached, consulted. Oh, this is a lot of time we're going through. But always this little voice was in the back of my head going, "You sure about that?" And I wasn't. I mean, not really. But I kept showing up anyway. And somewhere along the way, I started to realize nobody is as sure as they seem. We're all just choosing to act like we belong until we do the fake it till you make it. Now, nobody's pretty exclusive, but Very few people will say. Obviously, earlier I said 70%. So there are 30% of people who probably never experienced this or don't know what we're talking about. But don't get me wrong. This isn't one of those then I conquered my self-doubt and now I'm perfect kind of stories. Not at all. I am still figuring it out. That's why we do this. I jumped and I'm building my wings on the way down, but I've learned some things. And I think if we talk about it, we can make this whole journey a little less lonely and maybe a little funnier, hopefully, along the way. So here's how this is basically going to go. Each episode, I'll bring you a story, a conversation with a guest, or a big idea around this whole sort of sure concept. Maybe some leadership and personal growth thrown in there, but without the weird, toxic masculinity, hustle culture, grind harder every day, birth 3 children by 1 p.m. kind of energy. Sometimes I'll have those guests. Sometimes I'll read stories from the internet, always with permission. Because let's be honest, people out there are wild. And sometimes it will just be me, kind of like this, sorting through stuff in real time. But at the end of every episode, I'll try to leave you with something, a question, a challenge, something that you can chew on until I come back. My goal isn't to make you feel like you need to fix yourself. My goal is to remind you that you're already more capable than you think. And if you're not sure, that's fine. Neither am I. That's kind of what we're doing here. So that's it. This is my first episode. It's short, it's sweet, and it's here for you to kind of follow along. Hopefully, not too existential. If anything in this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to stick around. Subscribe, share, or just nod quietly along in the car. Either way, I appreciate you. And before I go, here's something to think about. What's one thing you've done in your life that at the time you felt totally unqualified for, but you did it anyway? Think about that. Write it down. And remember, if you could do that, you can probably do a whole lot more than you're giving yourself credit for. All right. I'll see you next time. This has been the first episode of the Sort of Sure podcast. Later days.